Oh man, Spider-Man fans, we be eating good right now. I mean, on the video game front, the game that sold like all the copies on the PS5 at the tail end of 2023 has made its triumphant PC debut, and well, it's off to a little bit of a rough start. Not gonna lie. Okay, Spider-Man 2 is flopping on PC. The game is also cracked by hackers minutes after it was released officially. Yeah, within about 20 minutes, the posts were coming up. It's like, yep, it's been cracked. This because Sweet Baby Inc. is involved in the game. Well, the overall quality of the game does speak to the people who worked on the narrative, which Sweet Baby Inc. was involved with, but overall, it's like a short, dismissible title that, yeah, kind of has been out there for a minute on the sly if you know how to run certain PS5 gimmicks, but also the fact that the game got cracked and it generally didn't have good reception to begin with. But I love the cope from these idiots that are out there that just immediately go, oh, the game's woke, that means it's bad. I mean, it's a rehash and a retread of a good game from, when did the first one come out, 2018 or something like that? It's like, that was a revelation. This one just had Miles Morales, and it's like, no, we want Spider-Man, we don't want Miles Morales. Like, what are we doing out here? Nobody bought your spin-off game at the launch of the PS5 because nobody could get a PS5, and now that everybody has access to, Spider-Man 2, nobody's playing this shit. Okay, and we can take a look now. I'm a little bit later into the evening on Thursday, but yeah, of course, nice triple sixes that are in there. That was the peak player count, 16,000. Actually, it was a little bit higher than that when I first installed this very game right here. And yeah, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth heading into its second weekend. Still doing fine, peaking over 40,000. I don't know if it's going to get any higher than that, but in general, there's better word of mouth around that than there is with this one because, guys, here's the ting, okay? Like, we can go back to the PlayStation blog article here for a second. I can show you a couple of interesting things. More importantly, taking a look at these, PC specs, and bro, they're calling for a 3060 to run this thing at 1080p 60, okay? Like, if you want to get high settings without ray tracing, you're going to need a 3070, or if you want to max this bitch out, a small, like, you can coast through this game in like 8 hours, they want you to have a 4090. Like, what are we doing out here? Just these poorly optimized, awful, 32 gigs of RAM? Bro, what are we doing? But PlayStation's doing some interesting stuff, which I'll talk about at a later date, especially with their higher ups doing a little moving and shaking, moving their offices around. If you know, you know, and if you don't, I'll get to it in due time. But they're trying to give you all of these bells and whistles, free skins, early unlock suits if you just sign up and pledge your soul to Sony while you're on PC. It's like, oh, okay, that's very interesting. But go buy the game and you can get all of these ugly ass Spider-Man costumes. Like, what the hell are we doing, man? Marvel's most popular singular character, and this is the best that you can do for him? Ugh, all of those, like, legitimately, all of those suck. Like, what are we doing? These are crap. But hey, even with all of this, all of these gimmicks, 10 unique suits, if you just buy the digital deluxe edition, you can early unlock the Shadow Spider and Arachnite suit, great, or the 2099, ugh, god, that's terrible, or Miles Morales' 2099 suit, that's hilarious, right? Because you can get the Spider-Man 2029 suit, or I'm sorry, yeah, 2099 suit, or you can get the Miles Morales 2099 suit. I mean, this is Marvel, this is Insomniac, this is Sony saying that, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, and Miles Morales is Miles Morales. But hey, at least the game, okay, even for the select few people that are buying this on Steam, that are playing it on PC for the first time through legitimate means, at least they're enjoying the, oh no, they're actually not, you got a 50-50 review split. Yeah, that's really not good. And then just going back to the game that's woke, oh my god, Square Enix with the ethics department making Tifa ugly is like, yeah, you guys are once again on top of it with your commentary. But no, people have a pretty good memory, okay, and people know exactly what they're in for when it comes to this, outside of being able to do a spray painting side mission where you can play as Miles Morales' deaf girlfriend. It's like, yeah, that's what I buy my Spider-Man games to do. Try to turn it into some woke-ass version of Jet Set Radio Future, or I guess Jet Set Radio Future. And then when you can play as Peter Parker, you can go to that absolute smoke show, or as she put it in the comics, you really hit the lottery. The only thing that you're going to be getting in Spider-Man 2's iteration of Mary Jane get hit by the jawbreaker, like, yo, what the hell is going on? And I've talked about this before in different aspects, you know, casting voice actresses, casting actresses, just doing face scan, or just trying to make video games like movies. It's just such a terrible trend. I despise it. It removes creativity, and it does to video games. What happened in the movie industry years ago? It puts an over-reliance on CG technology, and it never looks convincing, and it's never accurate. Because, yeah, there's the comparison of MJ in the game and the actress that this is supposed to be based on. Can you see the similarities? Because I sure as fuck can't. But it's not the worst one, right? Like, I think that this one's always going to go down as the worst because you got, just in case you don't remember, because nobody remembers this game. Star Wars Outlaws, you got Kay Vess. You got Kay, I know, right? Like, it's tough to tell because technology has advanced so much. But Kay Vess, she's the one in the jean jacket with the mop top and the 5 o'clock shadow. And then you got Humberly Gonzalez, who is the voice actress and the face model for Kay Vess. Real close. You just about got it. You guys were this close over there. And there's a reason why the studio that made this game is fucking closed now. But you take a look at how PlayStation is promoting the PC release of Spider-Man 2. And they're using an actually successful game in Marvel Rivals, which is wild because just comparing and contrasting how many people are playing Spiderman 2 right now, how many people are playing Marvel Rivals, and it's like, yeah, people know exactly what they want. They want a Spider-Man that looks like this, okay? Even with the costume, because the costume that Insomniac came up with for Peter Parker, for Spider-Man, is actually, I'm a big fan of the blue that's on the side, the way that it's integrated right there, but I don't actually mind the big Venom-esque spider that's on there. Like, that's not too bad. It's not bad. It's not the worst Spider-Man costume that I'm seeing, or that I've seen rather, and it's a hell of a lot better than anything that they're trying to give away if you just buy the slop. But that's all right. Maybe Spider-Man games aren't necessarily your thing, right? Like, you think that Spider-Man is more of a visual passive entertainment property. Well, guess what? We have the perfect solution for you. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. And hey, good news this time around. Good news, everyone. Because when it comes to the scores, when it comes to the audience reception, critics love your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Disney Plus's best new show arrives with a perfect 100% critic score. I mean, and even the audience's 81% love it. Okay? They love everything that's going on. Hell, it's better received than Black Panther, Avengers Endgame, Iron Man, X-Men 97, and Ms. Marvel. They are, and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., okay? Better than all of those. I can't believe that it's better than Ms. Marvel, you know, the character that was introduced in the MCU is, in Marvel, okay, in Marvel. And she was supposed to replace Spider-Man. Hilarious, right? And then had to spin it off to be a mutant, because Kamala Khan is just about as cringy as the real world Kamala. But yeah, it's off to a very strong start, okay? And I think the entire series is out there because it just dropped. It just dropped on the 29th. And well, everybody's caught up with what we're dealing with here. And well, there's some interesting choices, like how Peter Parker is essentially, well, outside of the criminals, the only white guy in there. Is wild. You've got Harry and Osborn, hello, and Norman, I am somewhat of a basketball enthusiast myself, Osborn, taking on the fatherly role for a Peter Parker who is sans Uncle Ben for like the previous months. Like, he's been gone for a minute, and at the end of the series, because nobody's going to give a shit about this pile of garbage. Yeah, Peter Parker's dad's still alive, and he's in prison. That's where Aunt May goes at the end of the show to go visit her brother in jail. Oh, whatever, man. But in the meantime, Peter meets up with a race and gender swapped Rhino. You didn't know that one, but the one that's really getting a lot of attention, race and gender swapped Dr. Connors, the Lizard. 2 of the 6, and I guess, you know, Green Goblin as well, but 2 of the 6 have been race and gender swapped in the Sinister Six, and at least what we know right now, half of that villainous team have been race swapped. What are you trying to say, Marvel? That that the people in your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man's New York City are disproportionately a certain community? That's kind of that's strange. That's very strange. And a typical example of modern day comic book adaptation writing applied to an admittedly atypical target. The premiere of Marvel Studios' new friendly neighborhood Spider-Man animated Disney Plus series, which nobody's gonna, after this weekend, like, nobody's gonna be talking about this show. It's gonna go the same way of all of this Marvel animated slop. For as good as X-Men 97 was, like, we've seen the numbers before. It tracked of Marvel's top 10 shows of the year. Like, it was far and away the best reviewed one, but it ended up in like 6th or 7th place. Nobody gives a shit about this animated stuff, man. It goes on these streaming services, and unless it catches fire like Bluey, okay, animated shows on streaming services, it just die a silent death. This will be no different, because what's the hook? Okay, it's Spider-Man. Great. There's a litany of other Spider-Man projects and properties that are out there, okay? You want animated Spider-Man? Go back to the 90s, or you can go back even further than that and get the classic stuff and some great memes off of it. You want live-action movies? Well, pick your fare, and chances are, unless you go the Amazing Spider-Man route, you're going to have a good time. So who's this for? Oh, right, it's for the mythical modern audience that needs to see themselves represented as a strong, independent black women who can also be in STEM, because we need more. Oh, I just put another piece together. We need more black, female, disabled representation in STEM. It's just wild. Anyways, House of Mouse, yes, is as race and gender swapped none other than the wall crawler's longtime friend / villain, Dr. Carla Connors, otherwise known as the Lizard. Well, what's the new name? Okay, Carla Connors. Okay, very, very creative. Created by none other than original Spider-Man creators Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. The Lizard was one of the first official supervillains to be added to the Heroes Rogues Gallery, making his debut all the way back in 1963's Amazing Spider-Man Volume 1, Volume 6, or Volume 1, number 6, issue number 6, Jesus. Brilliant biologist, Connors tells a special interest. At this point in time, like, pretty much everybody knows Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery, so you don't even need to run down just how egregious this change is. And it's like, oh wow, look at that, another ginger race swapped by Disney. Why do you have to continue to do this stuff? Talking about Carla here for a second, okay? The series originally began life as a direct entry into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Yeah, this is important, okay? Before being spun off into its own pseudo standalone endeavor, introduces viewers to its take on Dr. Connors in its second episode, The Parker Luck. Yeah, this was supposed to be the origin story for Tom Holland's Spider-Man at one point in time, okay? Obviously, it deviated quite heavily, and it's very heavily implied to be a multiverse. Who knows if they tried to tie this back in order to go, hey guys, you want to see this version of an even more fish out of the water Spider-Man? Do you want that? Therein, after performing a series of aptitude tests to determine which division of Oscorp he will be serving his upcoming internship in, Peter Parker is introduced to his new mentor, Company Energy Research Division member, Dr. Carla Connors, a dark-skinned woman of an unspecified ethnic background. Well, we don't have to worry about the unspecified background for Peter Parker's love interest in the show, a girl named Pearl, because she is very proudly a Filipino-American, because she explicitly tells Peter Parker and the audience, because that's really important to my, let me check notes, a Spider-Man show. Unfortunately, for those wondering, as the series, as of the end of the series' second episode, this version of Dr. Connors has yet to transform into the more well-known form. Yeah, well, we know that the Lizard is just once again going to be even more misunderstood, which it's kind of a sympathetic villain in the comics, because obviously, right, like, it's an involuntary transformation by Connors, and it's been well explored time and time again. This one is just, I don't know, Carla transforms and then she ends up looting a CVS. I don't know what's going to end up happening, but I'm sure it's going to be cringe. But it's funny, right, because Norman Osborn there, who's making Peter all of his suits, fixing him up with all of his gimmicks, telling him that with great power comes great responsibilities. Because they also, in the show, have him do a cheap-ass Willem Dafoe impression, because there's nothing original left at Marvel anymore. Okay. Like, for all of the stuff that we've seen beforehand, that we could all just, universally, when this trailer dropped, I think it was like right before Christmas, and everybody went, what is this? Like, this is a really antiquated thing that you have here, Disney. Like, who's this for? This is gonna suck. How much worse could it possibly get? Oh, we didn't even know how much worse it was gonna get. And this one has already, okay? Because the way that animation works, there's a reason that, X-Men 97, even for as poorly viewed as it was, like, it's getting a second season. Like, I'm pretty sure that's on the horizon. That's either coming out this year or next year. But the way that the animated stuff works, like, across the board, because if you recall, a few years back, Velma, okay, that toxic pile of vitriol, it got a second season, because animated shows, the way that they're produced, like, normally you're gonna get at least another season or two off the back of that, because the way that the studios do this stuff is they anticipate a hit, because because they greenlit it, so they thought it was a good idea to begin with. So they have the animators in there, and then they just, put their nose to the grindstone for as much content as they can put out. So this has already been given the go-ahead for 2 or 3 seasons. I've heard it reported as 3, but at least 2 for sure. I'll err on a side of caution and say that there is another season of this coming. There's 10 episodes this time around, and who knows, man, probably as many for a second season. But we're figuring out that Electro is probably just a Hispanic with Tourette's. I don't know, man. Like, it's all going to be cringe. It's all going to suck. But it was funny because Hudson Timms, it's probably Thames because American, right? God damn it, that's how we say it over here. In North America? No, right America. He tried to get out ahead of this, which is probably the most insightful thing that you're going to get from this entire project is now Disney is very much aware of how a lot of these projects end up getting approached and dismissed immediately. If the audience sees something that they don't like, they'll immediately apply the 4-letter death knell to a project, W-O-K-E. It gets hit with that. It has a tough time shaking it, even if it's totally fine. But Disney knows it, and that's their marching orders on the promotional tour going forward. The ironic comments from Spider-Man's voice actor. Yeah, this is to follow on from all of the race swapping, all of the gender swapping that's happening in there, where it's one of those obvious examples that, yeah, that's just woke because there's no other reason to do that. Like, there's no narrative reason to have Carla Connors, to have Black Rhino, to have Norman Osborn. None of it makes any sense outside of, oh, you have boxes to tick and an agenda to push. But yes, Hudson Thames, the voice actor for Peter Parker in a series, recently did an interview where he insisted that the show wasn't annoying and woke. Those are his exact words. That's not a paraphrase. That is not getting straight to the point. He said this. I thought it was awesome. I mean, my biggest fear was that it was going to be annoying and woke, and it wasn't. I was like, yes, this is great. It's so well written. Like, it feels real. I'm the oldest of 5 boys, so I feel like I kind of know what's happening in their lives and in high school, and it felt like I was doing that justice. Wow, there's a lot of weasel words that are in there. So yeah, you can go ahead and feel a certain way, but in reality, when this is staring you in the face at the beginning of a trailer, you kind of know what we're heading for. So you can go ahead and say that it doesn't feel annoying or woke. But when the rubber hits the road, or in this case, when the 52% come and knock down your door, don't pretend to be surprised when the viewing figures come in and they're absolutely through the floor. So much so, they'll qualify for EBT. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.